Sevukemo, nednos limgafutemot beleviam. Amaro everdu vasiga chalek shalal. תמלאמו נפשי הליכר בתורי שמו ידי נשבת ברוחך חסמו ימצאו גופרת במים אדירים מי כמוך בא אלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה Vivu Bela Shabbat Shalom. Good night. When I bang the door. Over here, like since we have the Muslim locality, whenever I go down or I'm around in this area, so many of the Muslims, they identify me as Muslim and they wish me like Salam Alaikum, and then I normally give them back in the Walaikum Assalam.
We have been living in proper Bombay, I think, for the past 4 years, ever since we shifted here to the boys' hostel after we got married and Sarun got this job.
I grew up in Baikala, in a street called Shepherd Road. At one time, that street was filled with a lot of more Jews and was like a Jewish area. Nagpara was very Jewish. I was never meant to be a chef till I moved to Israel and lived in a kibbutz for a while. And being in a kibbutz for about 9 months, when winter came in, they put me in the kitchen. And that's when I started actually working with food. And I realized I really began liking it.
We got married in 1949. I just finished my high school and I got married, and then I went to St. Xavier's College with him. He was my professor because I had taken economics. So I always wanted to get married to a Jew.
As far as I am concerned, I had made no such decision because I had made no decision to get married at all until I saw her and met her. It was over.
I wanted to get, sorry.
I didn't get married to her because she was a Jew. I got married to her because I got married to her.
I get a lot of surprised reaction if I say they react to my name. It's actually long form Rachel Sarah Ruben Naugaukar. Most people in India really don't connect. But if there's, an American or European and you say your name is Rachel Rubin, they kind of go like, oh, but aren't you, what are you, So there's that, the disbelief that there is a Jewish community in India that actually survive.
The number of Jews that are at present in India are to the tune of about 4,500 to 5,000. The Jews can be classified into 3 categories in India. That is the Cochini Jews, the Iraqi Jews, and the Bene Israel Jews. The Iraqi Jews are to the tune of about 200 to 250 Iraqi Jews living in India. The Sassoon family have done enormous contribution to the city of Mumbai and Pune. They've got the David Sassoon Library, they've got the Sassoon Docks, they've had the Sassoon Mills, which was at Baikala, which after that went into become the Katao Mills. And the David Sassoon Library also is a real fact of what the Sassoons did for India.
They are the Bene Israels, to which community I belong, which came about 2,500 years ago. So we are therefore more Indian than many Indians. The Bene Israelis were absorbed, accepted, allowed to stay and to work in the area that they landed on, which is south of Alibag near Bombay, a place called Navgaon. As they spread and the numbers increased, it became necessary to identify them, since they are Jewish names, Solomon, David or something like that was not enough. And they would then be identified by the village from which they came, which is also the Maharashtrian or Konkan practice in any case. So they came to be known by the villages in which the families had established themselves.
I always knew, because I was taught that daddy is Bene Israel and mummy is Baghdadi. And then later on, of course, we asked my family and stuff. And when my parents were actually getting married, it wasn't such a happy marriage, because she was apparently stepping down. Being white-skinned and all that, she was stepping down and marrying a Bene Israel, Maharashtrian type, brown sahib type man. So there is that. I don't think it's very apparent except to the people within the community. But on the surface of it, I mean, a Jew is a Jew is a Jew.
The way we grew up was obviously very different from what I think we are practicing now. Our parents also didn't know a lot of things that we have had the opportunity to go to Israel and study. About observing the Shabbat, for example, my parents were not that strict. Like, we would light the fire on Shabbat, we would make tea, we would heat up the food, we would watch television, we would go out and that kind of thing. Now that we have both learned what is the proper way of observing the Shabbat, so we try to observe it the way it's supposed to be done, which is being at home with your family, not working, not switching lights on and off.
Table for Shabbat. Doesn't our table look nice?
Yom HaShabbat en kamohu bercho Elohim v'ykadeshehu b'yom rishon shishi likrat Shabbat niksefa nafshi ki b'Shabbat etze chofshi v'chi yom menucha ekraehu Yom HaShabbat en kamohu
Hilabad Sharun में शरुना मगर मेरे कहता वैसे कहता वैष्णव भी कुछ लोग ये वाले का उधर मेरे का यार उसने पना और मेरे का इसा उसने पना और मेरे का शालोम मैं सामू ऐसे में अलबेने इस्राएल वानिया और के मेरे का उसमें नुमार Amen.
Shabbat is the 7th day of the week, and it's the Jewish day of rest. It's the day in which the Torah tells us that God finished creating the world and He rested on the 7th day. So He blessed the 7th day and He made it holy. And so all Jews are commanded to rest on Shabbat. And basically both of us love Shabbat, because at the end of a long hard week, when Shabbat sets in and you can't work even if you want to, that's just relax and be with the kids and enjoy them, enjoy the food, sing songs, just talk to each other, because you can't do anything else. You can't watch television, you can't go out. So it brings an aspect of maybe sanity into our crazy fast lifestyles of nowadays.
True.
As a restaurant, I'll have to keep shut also between sunset and sunset, from Shabbat to Shabbat end, which is Friday evening to Saturday evening, which I can't afford to do in this city, because it's a time everybody goes out. Kosher is a whole list of Jewish dietary laws that govern how a Jewish home keeps the kitchen. The most common laws are like the ones that work in Israel. That's to work in a hotel. You either work in a milky kitchen or you work in a meaty kitchen. In a meaty kitchen, you don't use any milk produce whatsoever. The basic definition of the two kitchens is milk and meat. This is the core of kosher. Even the vegetables you buy need to be kosher. It means they need to come from a land that is kosher. Unless you're invited to someone's house, you won't land up getting a kosher meal. There is no restaurant that would do kosher here in Mumbai.
We were looking for a place for me to stay when they were moving out to Pune, and I was determined to live in Bombay. I wasn't going to go to Pune. So we searched and searched and searched and found this building with a Jew on the 4th floor. I mean, like, wow. So my mom was like, okay, this is it. You're going to move into this building. So I did. And, you know, they're there and I'm there and we say hello to each other and that's it. That's the joy of living in the city. You know, it's just, it allows people to just be who you want to be. As long as you don't step on anybody's toes, you're fine. It is predominantly Catholic, Bandra, but actually that's the most charming part of it. It's like a little bit like Goa. It's got a lot of churches and everybody kind of, you know, it's a healthy respect.
Personally, I like the pace of this city. I love everything that goes on over here, and I mean, even when I was living in Thana, it was always my dream to work in Bombay or to study in Bombay. And I think also over here, it's like since we have not been living here all our lives, so I feel pretty much not known over here. The Torah is the 5 books of Moses, and the Torah is basically the holy book of the Jewish people. We believe that the Torah was given by God to Moses on Mount Sinai, and Moses wrote it down exactly word for word as he heard it. The Torah contains the 613 commandments which make up the basis of Jewish law, and they constitute what God expects a Jew to do in life. Yeah, it depends on each family's priorities, but definitely for us, since you know, living a Jewish life is very high on the priority list. Over here, we think it's very difficult to do that now. And for our kids, like I feel very lucky to have found Sharon, you know, the choice for Jewish boys to get married to, because first of all, there's so few people, the choice is very less. So in that, I managed to find, you know, the right person for me, a gem. I feel lucky, but I can't guarantee the same thing for my daughters. I don't want them to face a situation where because of lack of suitable boys to marry, that they'd be forced to, you know, marry somebody who's not Jewish.
Regarding the Jewishness, it's diminishing because most of the community is already left. Last 4,500 to 5,000 are remaining, which are very much scattered. So our family doesn't get like to interact with the Jewish people on a regular basis.
Really, you know, the consciousness of the fact that there's so few Jews left actually came home to us when really around the time that my mom died. Any important religious ceremony or any important event in the Jewish calendar or religion has to be supported or supervised by the Quorum, which is the 10 men, the 10 wise men. But now we have to find the 10 men. So 1 year later, my mom's gone, you know, the whole thing has died down, and we have to have this ceremony in the cemetery. And we can't find 10 men. You know, me and my sister, being rather modern women, went up to the we don't have a rabbi in Pune, so he's like the head of the community. And we went up to him and said, look, it's my mother and we're saying it's okay, and you have 9 men and you have us. Can we just not do the ceremony? And oh God, it was a big halla gulla, and he lost his cool, and no. So one young kid, some 14-year-old kid, was dragged out of school and brought to the cemetery and made to stand there as the 10th man so we could do the thing. Personally, I believe that religion is actually the bed, and then the world grows, and it kind of just, it should be organic, and it should suit the moment and suit the time.
That's Jerusalem. Everyone's dream is to go and live in Israel as a Jewish homeland, and everyone finds their peace in that country if you're Jewish. Aliyah literally means to rise. That's the actual translation of the word Aliyah. You never say you migrate to Israel, you say you rise to Israel. As a Jew not living in Israel, one has the right to return.
But that's not the reason why Israel is beautiful for us. For us it's beautiful because it's in the scriptures and it's connected to us, connected to the spirituality.
What we felt was that our affiliation with India was much stronger than our affiliation with Israel.
India. I would say India, definitely. We belong more to India. We enjoyed our stay where we were, but now at this age, we prefer to come to India, and we like India more than any other place.
I think we very much intend to go to Israel, and it has to be soon, because we really can't see our daughter going to a school over here where there is no Jewish education. So we would definitely want her to start going to a school where Hebrew, where it's being taught in Hebrew, and Torah studies and Jewish history and prayers and festivals are a part of the curriculum. So soon.
I could have been anywhere in the world. I could have been in any metro in the world, and it felt the same, no difference. I don't think there was a special Jewish connection for me being there. Everyone who I lived with were Israeli, and Israeli doesn't necessarily mean Jewish in every way. You feel connected, I think, a lot to your culture, to your city where you're born. Your roots belong there, and if you can follow your traditions, your religion, wherever you are in the world, and that could be home for you. I'm living in Israel. I didn't feel Jewish. I felt like an Israeli. So I thought I might as well come back to Bombay, at least where my culture, my roots are, and live here. And I think I couldn't have made a better choice in coming back.
יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלם, סלם. שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלם, סלם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלם עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלם, סלם. עלינו ועל כל העולם. סלם, סלם. יבוא שלום עלינו, יבוא שלום